Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. Yeah, I already saw a couple of episodes and cool.
Thanks again. So I thought to tell about you and the work that you are doing to my audience. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Ondřej Chrastina. I work as a developer relations leader at a company called Kontent.ai. Kontent.ai is a company providing headless CMS. I'm in a business of CMSs for about 10 years. I started in a QA section of the on-premise solution, and currently we are providing a headless SaaS-based product which providing content management system with, let's say, focus on editing and creative way of working or creating the content for the masses. For my part, I'm taking care of the open source. Since it's a headless CMS, we are providing the REST and GraphQL API for fetching the content and managing the content and models. So I'm providing the open source tooling around, like SDK, sample applications, and integrations themselves. I don't do it myself. I'm leading a team of 5 people, and we are taking care of the Content.ai GitHub organization with all the open source code.
So why you wanted to be in developer relations?
Yeah, I started in a QA before I entered the world of developer relations. I like to have a control over the quality, and I always wanted during the time when I was implementing a testing framework for the product. So I always wanted to provide a better way for developers to work with any service APIs and stuff. And as well, I was a big fan of open source. And at the time, one of my colleagues created a new team, which was called Developer Community at that time. And I really liked it because everything was open sourced. You basically saw the results pretty quickly because the turnover of creating a sample or tutorial was really quick. So you don't need to wait for, I don't know, year release. And then we started to build and grow the team. Then the colleague of mine left, so I took over the whole team, and I'm currently scaling it up. So it's helping people, and it's working with open source. So 2 things all combined. So that's what I love.
So your previous job is different from what you're doing now. So why that diversity?
Yeah, first I was just learning for 5 years. I was doing the QA, try to understand the, let's say, the methodologies, how to write code, how to cooperate with the team from the technical point of view. So it was QA and with the developer skills. So we're basically a development team, doing or creating the product in a basically pretty standard way, I would say, for the content management module. But at some point, I think I get to the point that like my technological level was okay. I could write code, review code, and I basically hit the peak. And I wanted to try something more customer facing, but I didn't want to lose the technical part. So that's why I switched internally in the company to developer relations.
And what challenges that you face in your regular job?
Yeah, first thing, and it will probably will be told by many people working in DevRel, is tracking the results. Because we are doing open source tools that we don't really know how much value they are providing, you know, because you can do the ROIs and you can measure the quality, but at the end of the day, there are many things that DevRel is providing that are pretty hard to measure. So measuring the quality of the SDKs, measuring the happiness, or measuring the time to, I don't know, include the new feature that is released in the API to the SDK. These are a couple of things that you are able to track, but it's kind of hard to show the stakeholders that the developer relations is really important. Because at the end of the day, the developers are not the one that are deciding or decision makers that are buying the system, but then they are the users that are providing the feedback. So measuring is one thing, and the second thing is the technological speed, or the speed that the new technologies are emerging. Because since we have APIs, it's basically not dependent on some stack. and you have many stacks. So if we want to cover them all, it would be impossible. So you need to focus on just some stacks, but you need to keep up to speed with all the trends that are coming to not be outdated. So keeping up with the technologies is another one.
So how your previous experiences are helping you in your present role?
Yeah, we decided to pursue two stacks. We have a TypeScript and JavaScript and Node.js world. And the second one is .NET, because the company originally and the base of the code is written in .NET framework, and we are Microsoft based and we are Microsoft partners. So we have many developers right from the development that have experience in the .NET. So for me, it's kind of easy to work with these two stacks because I have the experience, and we have many people that are writing or using the stacks on a daily basis. So this was two fields that we are currently focusing. So for .NET, it's a classic relay architecture, .NET MVC, and for JavaScript, we are currently focusing on Jamstack, so mainly Next.js and Gatsby.
So you're doing work with a laptop as well as with the people. So how you are able to do multitasking?
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder because we are scaling up the team. So I don't write the code that much. Mostly, if I do the coding or something, it's a review part, or I'm defining the scopes, or basically defining the data contracts and these kind of things. So it's the level of the coding is getting lower and lower. But at the end of the day, as I said, we're creating SDKs and sample applications that are pretty small. So I still we have like 20% of our work time basically blocked to the innovation time, so you can basically do like your self-education, and this is the time that I'm focusing on, let's say, trying new things, trying new frameworks. But the rest of it, I guess it's like 60-70% of my time. It's basically managing the roadmap over the like open source roadmap we have in Content.ai.
So what is your driving force? What is motivating you to do developer relations role?
Yeah, I'm a lion, so I really like when people are appreciating my work. And since we are doing the public-facing repositories, I really love to see the appreciation of the people that are using our SDKs and tools we are providing, and that they are saving their time. So this is really my driving force to like help the developers to basically focus what is important, which is the development, not writing the code that you need to do for every single project the same. So like helping people to be more effective. So this is my driving force.
So what are you before coming into this role and after coming into this role? What is the change that you are observing?
Yeah, before this role, I didn't do any customer-facing interviews. I haven't been speaking with, let's say, interesting people like, for example, you are. So you don't really get to you don't get to the cooperation with, let's say, many people. You just get a task, you have the task done, and that's it. Maybe you do some interactions with your team, your grooming, some functionalities and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's still internal. So this was the biggest change, to, let's say, open up to people and be like open them and like be, let's say, communicable and start, let's say, interaction with outside world.
So how is now talking with customers and interacting and communicating with them?
Yeah, we have mainly two groups of people that we are focusing on. The first one, we have an MVP program, like, for example, Microsoft has, but much smaller. We have around 9 people that we are working on the weekly basis. So if we are like focusing on something, I can get a quick feedback from them. There are mostly like C-level technical guys, architects, or the owners of the digital agencies. So you can quickly make the feedback from this part of the world. The second one is the GitHub itself, because since everything is open source, you have users or developers right there. The platform allows you to cooperate on issues, tasks, pull requests, and even the project management tools that are embedded right in the system. So we are basically using GitHub as a part of the communication channel, as well as recent addition to that, which is Discord channel.
So what you're learning in recent times?
So we need to keep up with new stacks. So for now, .NET 7, the new major version with the new features that are allowing to write the code more efficiently and more easily. So this is what in .NET world is emerging, as well as .NET MAUI or the Blazor. There are still I think at a little beginning, since we are focusing on enterprise segment from our product. But it's really good thing to keep an eye on it. And from the Node.js or JavaScript world, it's Jamstack frameworks like Next.js, Gatsby, and like the new, let's say, niche framework like Vite or Vite. I don't know how to pronounce it, or Svelte. So these, let's say, pretty quick frameworks, they are still at the really beginning phase, but for some project they can be ideal. So we need to keep an eye on these. Yeah. So Jamstack and .NET are the main resources that we need to keep up with.
So conflicts are quite common in development and a project. So how you are able to fix it?
Yeah. I must say, our company culture is awesome. I haven't seen it really often when it comes to the relationships. Of course, we have a conflict, but Content.ai has the public playbook that basically are trying to explain how you should behave or how you should react if you don't agree with someone. Sometimes we fall into this situation, and you can just of course you need to make a step back, cool down, think about what you need to achieve. But at the end of the day, you need to, and we have the rule called commit, disagree and commit. So even you can serve your arguments, you can talk with them, and then you are trying to provide compromise. But once it's done, it's set in stone, it's written down, and then you are following the rules or the decisions that you have done. So this is basically how I do it. I didn't have really the big conflicts. Most of the time, it's just the developers choosing the technology or trying to do the things the best way, and they're still this is my solution and this one is the best. But at the end of the day, if you just have a good night's sleep after for that, sometimes you realize, and if I do that, that my way wasn't the best of the best breed. So yeah, it happens so much. So good night's sleep and trying to follow the playbook.
So what is the source? From which source you learn most?
Excuse me, once more. Just got out.
The source, the information where you learn a lot.
Yeah, I have a lot of newsletters subscribed, like JavaScript Weekly or .NET newsletter. I also have our own technical Content.ai newsletter. So these are the channels that I'm, let's say, passively getting. Then I have my YouTube channels that I have subscribed to from Microsoft, from Vercel, from Gatsby. So I'm subscribing as well. And this season of fall, it's a conference season, and we're visiting a lot of conferences because for me, it's much easier to just sit, learn, and I don't need to do the pre-check and read through the documentation. I have the person who is expert in it explaining it quite quickly. So this is also a way how I'm keeping up to speed.
So in your country, what is how your developer relation role works?
Yeah, in Czech Republic, the developer relations are pretty young. I don't see many, let's say, local or Czech-based companies, just Czech-based companies that are using or approaching the developer relations way of providing the support for the technical roles. But I can see it from the international companies like Content.ai but we have branch offices of Microsoft, Google, AWS, and these, let's say, bigger companies that already have a developer relations departments in place in a much bigger scale than we have. So this is the way. This is the way how you can learn. But to be honest, if you want to go to the local level, the developer relations is not really developed in the smaller companies.
So what is the effect or the impact of the developer relation in a company?
Yeah, this is basically what I'm trying to repeat all over and over, and you will probably see it on the devrel.com and these kind of resources. When you have the system or software that you are providing to the technical part, so your users are the technical users, they need to have a good experience of using the product, and they need to have a way how they can reach out to the let's say someone technical to provide a feedback on the system, software, APIs, documentation, this kind of thing. So you need a technical guy, because if you don't have him and you have a, let's say, non-technical support for, let's say, user experience and these kind of things, then the technical audience would give you pretty bad feedback, or they will just quit using your service. So this is the way how you can boost your user base and lower the chance of the churn of the people that will just basically cut out the service. And since we are in a SaaS companies, you just cancel the subscription and that's it. It's not like you are really bound to the system itself. If you don't like it, you can just quit and buy a new one, which is better. So this is something that I'm really trying to do, is to listen to the people that are using it and then providing, let's say, the aggregated information to the product owners or to the technical teams that are developing the product itself.
And the best experience that you had?
I really love because we are organizing and sponsoring a lot of conferences, so we are around. And if I see a person who just goes to our booth or hear our presentation and then leave a feedback, you saved me, I don't know, hours of my work by providing the SDK. This is one of the best feelings that I really like. So that we helped developers to do their job.
So what you personally understood about developer relations?
Once again, please.
What you personally understood most about developer relations?
When I was starting with developer relations, we started with a consulting company called Hoopy. Maybe a little advert for them. They are a London-based company. They are basically focusing on implementing developer relations in your company, because we didn't have that much of an experience. We were driving the community team, which was something like focusing on any developers. But then we basically transformed and created a developer relations team that is focusing on the developers that are using our products. So we basically focused on the personas that we need, and we specified what we need from them. And as the outcome, it was much easier to get the feedback, because if you are focusing your questions, you get much more variable feedback and input.
So other than this, what do you do other than developer relations?
You mean in my personal life, right? Yeah, I really like sports. I like doing sports. I'm not a fan of watching sports. So I have no idea about the football in Premier League and these kind of things, but I really do love to play football or soccer. If you're in America, so soccer. I also like the racket sports like tennis or badminton. So I really like to clear my mind and just go running, or I do play badminton or tennis. This is really passion for me. I recently bought a motorbike, an electric one. So I really like to clean my head by driving it around. This is also cool. And I bought a new house, which is a nice of a hobby, because once you buy a house, you have a lot to work on, because you always see something that needs to be done or repaired or enhanced or these kind of things. I recently started with a smart homes setup, so I'm starting to set up my heatings and my Google Assistants around and the speakers and automatic lights and these kind of things. So this is a little bit more technological work of like clearing my head from let's say day-to-day job.
And how technology is helping humans in solving their problems?
Yeah. So the first thing, smart houses. I know you need to be careful about security and these kind of things, but I really love the way you can, let's say, save the energy on heatings automatically. So if you're not at home, you don't really need to have a high temperature inside, you know. So you just turn off the heating. Once you're getting closer to the home, it will start heating up your house. These are the things that I really love. I also love the way of let's say biotechnologies. So you have like the medicine like went really forward by using the technologies. You can go to change your knees, for example, with let's say with some titanium prosthetics, which has been done just by the technology and intelligent people that have built the solutions with the technology itself. So medicine is also a really big part of that. So these two would be probably my two best.
So what you are curious about to know about developer relations?
Yeah, for me to basically cooperate with other companies that already implemented the developer relations to, let's say, exchange the experience, because you can do it multiple ways. It's just the methodology. It's but the implementation, it's up to you. So it's really nice if I go to the conference and I find another developer advocates or developer evangelists or developer relations leaders in the field, to exchange the way of working and maybe get a little bit of tips or provide a little bit of an insight of your experience. This is something that I really like and really strive on.
So spending time in doing this, connecting with people and participating in conferences, what kind of knowledge that you are getting and how that is helping you to do the work better?
Yeah. For example, if you see the actual people implementing the services or providing the support, so meeting them face to face is much more effective for me. You can get much more information in much shorter time. It can have much bigger impact for the things that really like to pop up. So these are the things, or maybe creating a working group that just gets together from different companies or from the companies that we are selling our product to, and like work with them how to make our cooperation better and better. This is the things that I really like.
And if we go to 10 years back and now comparing the present with the 10 years back one, so what change that happened in developer relations role?
Yeah, 10 years ago, I had no idea that even the developer relation exists. It started around that time in the bigger companies, like I think the Google and Microsoft were the, let's say, first comers with that concept. So I had no idea. At the time, I was freshly out of college, and I was finishing my master's. So I joined the company, start to build, let's say, my technological experience. So I had no idea that something like that even works. And during the time, I started to see the people on YouTube that are doing the tutorials. I saw the bloggers that are doing the cool stuff by writing the articles. Then the stream started to work. So there were streamers that were coding live or doing some POCs and these kind of things, and it gets me interested. So 10 years ago, I had no idea that something is emerging. 5 years ago, I started working or started noticing that this is the cool field that I would like to be in.
And what is your educational background?
Yeah, I have, let's say, pretty standard IT background. So I started on the general informatics for my bachelor's. Then I finished my master's in applied informatics, which both were in Brno. One was on University of Technology, and the second one was on the Masaryk one. So I switched switched to colleges to have a comparison. But besides of that, I just started to work in the professional field and grow. I didn't do any PhDs or any. I didn't really play the part in some startups or these kind of things. I basically just started to work as an employee and then built my way up during the 10 years spending with the company.
So, what is the difference that you are observing in yourself when you have done your masters and the present role as a developer relations?
The difference was I had no idea how the actual business works because in the informatics and applied informatics, you can learn how to code, how to solve problems. It will help you to do the analytical thinking. But my courses was not covering the business way of doing. So any ROI, any marketing, any business development, this was the field that I had no idea about, and I needed to learn them by working with the people that already had experience with, or learning from the internet, or learning from the books how to do, let's say, the meta work around the software development. So this kind of marketing, technology, technology evangelism, and these kind of things.
What made you to understand things easier?
I really like to make a mind maps, or it's not a mind map, you just basically draw your ideas on the paper, and you're trying to make a complex idea to be placed on one piece of paper, ideally as small as possible. So we have like A5 or A4 paper, and you're trying to put it all there, or doing the groomings or explanations next to the blackboard. So you're trying to like write down your idea the most easiest way possible and provide information then for everybody.
And what is your approach to solve any problem that you face?
Yeah, we are trying to do it as iteratively as possible. So if we have a big problem, we are trying to cut it to the smaller problems and then try to prioritize them, try to find the really root or the base of the problems. Once you have it, you can start building the POC, or you can try drawing it on a board to make a solution. Once the solution is done, we are trying to provide it to the people that we are working with to get some feedback and iterating on it. So we are basically applying the agile methodologies in our software development setup.
And what is your success secret?
Success secret. I think for me, I'm really driven by the ambition. This might be really one of the key things, because you can do a developer job from 9 to 5 and be happy. But for me, my success is defined like how much I have learned and get the knowledge and provide it to the others. So this is something that I really strive to do, and I think that might have some part on my success.
And what do you think that you want to learn?
Currently, I'm leading the team just for 1 year. So I need to work on my management skills, and I would like to have more and more people, let's say, sharing my point on developer relations. So this is something that I need to focus on right now to, let's say, have my team ambitious, focused, but not overwhelmed, and really well aligned. So this management or people management skills are the things that I'm currently focused on developing besides of the technical ones.
Now you are understanding the user experiences and understanding what to give and how to contribute. So how this user experience is going to play a role in IT?
Yeah, I can make an example of our product because our product started 7-8 years ago as an internal startup in the company, and it was really trying to find the market for the CMSs at the time. Headless CMSs was just starting, so we're trying to make a solution pretty quickly and then make a feedback loop with the potential customers as quick as possible. But we end up with a solution that worked, but wasn't really nice or easy to work with. It had the features, but it didn't really had the good feeling of using it. So then we've basically, I think it's like 5 years ago, we decided to do the redesign or restructuralizing our system to be easy to use, easy to navigate in. And we basically set up our UX department at the time, and we are iterating on the UX basis. It took quite a long time. I think it was like 1 or 2 years to finish it up. We are, of course, doing it iteratively, but once we are at the, let's say, stage that we are fine with the user experience, it took 1 or 2 years. But after that, we started to get the value out of the clients because they were much more happy to use the product. It didn't just work, but it worked well and it was usable and it was much easier to work with, which gives you a really big boost because they can recommend it and you can basically build the marketing on it.
But it is very tough for you to reconstruct the built product.
Yes, that was pretty hard because you need to basically completely switch your understanding of developing things. It's not like, yeah, we need a feature, we need to implement the feature. It's more of like, yeah, let's find out that what our system is missing, and let's find it out from the users, from the user experience, what they are missing, or maybe they are struggling to find, or they are struggling to set up. So let's focus on more of a use case based development to the feature-based development that you have just the table of features that you need to do because, I don't know, other does that. Yeah. So it's much easier to do that, just to watch the competition and just copy and paste the features. But we're trying to, let's say, focus on more of a user base. And our primary persona is a creative people or a creative person who is working on, I don't know, marketing campaign, or creating the promotion or something like that. So these are really creative people, and they really need to have open mind when they are creating the work. So they really shouldn't be, let's say, thinking about how to use the software. They should be thinking how to create a promotion itself.
You started as a developer and you started constructing and working on a product before. Now you became the lead and you are understanding the business side of the technology and also understanding the user experiences of the product that you are creating. So this is completely different from what you did before. So this complete package, software development lifecycle. So what do you understood?
Yeah, I'm still learning. I don't have a super complex solution for developing the product because I have many colleagues that are much more experienced. So I'm basically trying to understand it. I know the basis, and I'm focusing on the developer relations. But to see it from the top, it's really interesting to see similar services in the bigger scale because we're focusing on enterprise segment in headless CMSs. But this is one of the market. But if you compare it, for example, with the market of, I don't know, search engines, yeah, for example, Google, they have the developer relations, but they are much bigger and much more, let's say, experienced in that. So this is the way I would like to basically focus to get the experience from them and implement it to our company so it can scale up to this huge size.
What are the best qualities of the software that makes user to use it in very easy way?
Yeah, depends on the persona. My main persona is a developer. So if you're a developer, for me personally, from my developer hat, it's an API. If you have a good API with a good API documentation, this is the core of the software that I would like to use. Of course, there are people, they don't want to use software from the technical point of view. They just want to basically use the software as is, like, I don't know, Microsoft Word and this kind of application that are not specific to developers. They are specific to various, let's say, non-technical users. And this is the user experience, like how easy you find the product usable. So you don't need to read the documentation. You don't even think what to click on. You don't need to think what you should do next, because you already get the feeling that it's natural to use it this way.
Is it possible to create a product which connects with everybody?
I don't really think so. Like to have one universal interface for everybody that just plug on your brain. You always need to focus on the specifics of the personas. Yeah, I think you can make a really good product, and I don't really believe you can do everything at 100%. You can always do it at 99.9, but you can really reach the ideal. But you can really get closer to the ideal if you have a specific segment that you are focusing on, because to have universal thing for everything, people are different and you can cover them all in one black box.
And what kind of research do a developer need to do in order to achieve that 99.9?
Yeah, reiterate all over and over and over. And because you can do the refactoring indefinitely, developer can rewrite the code. It happened to me many times that I wrote the code. I left it. I was happy with that. It was covered by tests. It was working. Was performant. I saw it. Then you just don't touch it for a year or two. But after a year or two, when you take a look back to the software, and yeah, I can make it a little bit more better. Then I made some mistakes, or I made some, let's say, bad architectural decisions, which lead to something, because you're always learning and you're getting much better. So iteration on the features or on the skill set, on the user interface, it's really important.
Communicating with a computer and communicating with a human being. So what is the difference?
Big one. And for me, I can see it for the type of people that I'm working with. There are developers that really write the code. They don't really need to think about anything else, user experience or communicating the features or documenting the features or trying to understand how it's valuable for this segment of the people or these kind of things. And I accept that. And most of the time, there are much more experienced developers than I am. So there are two people. The second one is two types of people. Sorry, but the second ones can speak with anybody, can have a creative mind or anything. But when they need to basically do something technical, which is a strict data contract, let's say, for them, then it's a little bit hard to achieve. So it's completely different for me, but I think that's one of the purposes of the, let's say, different roles in the companies or in the society, to get together and make the connections between these different types of people.
Which one is tough and which one is important?
I think they are both important. I think it's much harder to interact with people because they are much more complex. As I said, the data contracts are not that strict, and there are many different people. If you learn one programming language or one framework, it will probably work the same after a couple of years. We'll just add the new features in there, but the evolution is not that quick as it can be with the people.
And one last question is, you saw the evolution of the technology, you saw the evolution of the software. So what is the difference that you're observing from day one that you saw it and now?
Yeah, I can really see how the software is being used, because before I thought that the being IT guy is basically working with tables, data, and working them together. And now I see that the working as a software engineer or developer or even developer relations leader is not about the software, it's about the problems you are solving via technology. So this like mental shift was kind of different or big during my career itself.
And at last, what is your observation about this conversation and my questioning, and also the videos that I did on my YouTube channel?
Yeah, I think it's great. I really like the flow, and I like the connections in between the questions. So this is really nice. It's really nice that you have a camera, so we can like see each other, because I don't really like these conferences that you just have the profile picture there, and I have no idea if you're listening or doing something. So this is really cool. Audio quality great, English perfect, video perfect. So I think it was great, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, I didn't really feel like some stress or something like that. Sometimes you have this kind of thing that we are under pressure, the time and stuff. This was really like a really nice chat between two people, so I really liked it.
And I did masters in software engineering, also bachelor's in computer science and engineering. And right now I'm getting trained as a DevOps engineer, AWS DevOps engineer. Just now I completed my training. And talking with experts like you who are already in the industry, who are from different parts of the world, listening to you people and asking these questions and knowing what you did, how you solved problems in your work and in your projects, what I'm going to learn from this, and how this experience is going to helpful for me if I work in IT in coming days. How this experience, talking with experts like you from all over the world, how this experience is going to be helpful for me.
Yeah, I think that the YouTube channel or any stream, or you can do podcast, whatever. It basically depends on what you like. It's really good because first you will see people from all around the world doing various things. So it will basically basically make your view much wider than just like watching people around in your city or whatever. So this is great. And personally, I liked it during my time when I started to like work more with people internationally. You can see the slight little changes or the cultural differences or the like completely different approaches that our people are using, so then you can apply them. So for us, it can be, you learn that there is some developer relations. So you at least know that there is some field that might be interesting for, I don't know, even you or some colleague of yours, or you can just like share the experience. And for me, I really like that you're doing this kind of evangelizing work. You're trying to provide information about the jobs and not jobs, basically the topics that people are covering, which is kind of thing that I like to do and I wanted to do in developer relations, is providing the broader view what API or what technology you can use with our product. So I'm doing a slightly more narrowed way, the same as you are, but you are going pretty general and wide, which is really interesting.
And at last, can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yeah. You have my permission. I think I already sent it as well in the text, so you can store it, and you have my permission to set it up.
And also, can I put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yeah, place it anywhere you want. So Twitter, LinkedIn, podcast, your website, YouTube. I'm fine with that. If you can credit me, I would probably like to be credited on the Twitter, with my Twitter or my personal website. Depends on you, how you like it. Depends how you want to link me. But that's basically what I would like to have, to get some notifications so that I can watch the recording, how it look like at the end.
I'll put your web links in the description of this video on YouTube. People who finds our video on YouTube can see it, and also I'll put on the screen as well all the video they can see. And also, can you spell your online presence to my podcast listeners so that they can connect to you and learn from you?
Yes. I put it as the note to our meeting. So it's the ondrej.chrastina.dev, and I have all the links to all my socials in this little icon, so you can just click it through and you can just get connected with me.
Yeah, thank you again for giving me your valuable time and giving answers to some of my questions and sharing your experience with me and my audience.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me, and hopefully you'll be successful in the AWS DevOps. And good luck with that.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice rest of the day. Bye.
Bye.